Before I start with the review, some of you might have noticed that the video that I did with all of the pictures of the matches, no match footage at all, no music, just pictures like I did with AEW. That video was taken down. The first copyright strike of this channel. So this sucks, obviously. It'll be harder to explain the points without the pictures, but at least it'll be easier to make the video because what I'm planning to do, what I'm actually going to do with this one, is I'm going to replace all the pictures from the show, from any New Japan thing, with the Wrestle Universe logo just to promote the superior streaming service and the nicer company that doesn't take videos down. They don't even copyright strike footage yet. So yeah, enjoy this modified version. I think I might post the original one to Vimeo instead, whatever. So yeah, go get Wrestle Universe. It's cheaper by a little bit. It has better quality. And if you put all those four promotions together, they're pretty much New Japan. So yeah, enjoy the review. Sorry for the lack of visual aids. And subscribe to Wrestle Universe. Welcome, my 246 subscribers, everyone who is a fan of Japanese pro wrestling from all promotions, even those of you who just came here because of AEW and WWE connections, or hell, even those of you who support the formation of NXT Japan. Welcome to my review of NXT Japan Takeover Osaka. That sounds so wrong, and it's like it's from a dark timeline, the darkest of timelines. So yeah, let me do that again. Welcome to my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle Autumn Night 16, 2022. Let's begin. Okay, so before I start, I'll just say that this might be the last big review that I'm gonna do for the week. Hopefully there's no big shows, and when it comes to Full Gear, I might release it a bit late because still face-to-face duty right there in the hospital. Shit is gonna be happening, and I might not have enough time to make one of these, but I'll try. As for the DDT shows, if I'm bored for the next 10 days, I might rank the matches since they're half of that show, so it's an hour long. I can watch those easier, and I might just give my thoughts on some of the matches, maybe rank them. It'll be fun. Okay, so I haven't watched New Japan since Wrestling Dontaku. I thought the product declined. I moved on to Noah completely. And the Kota Ibushi news at the time was very discouraging. I actually thought New Japan turned into a scumbag company now. I thought they weren't worth supporting at the time. But after some clarifications, as well as Forbidden Door, and the recent news that Kota Ibushi is okay, he's working out with the current Pro Wrestling Noah champion, the current global honored crown heavyweight champion, Kaito Kiyomiya / the future of the company. He's working out with that guy, and this dude here on the left that I don't know who this guy is. Apparently he's from All Japan. I watched the live video of the best wrestling YouTuber out there, Rantin Reviews, to find this out. So yeah, thank God to know Kota Ibushi's okay. May he prosper in wherever he goes, may it be Noah, DDT, AEW, wherever. And aside from that, there's been news around the company. We have Shibata showing up on Dynamite, also wrestling on Rampage, having a banger with Orange Cassidy. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Great Bash Heel showed up in the return in Keiji Muto's third special retirement show. And number 3 is that after watching Noah and DDT, there's just something missing. It's missing the consistency that New Japan has in its shows. Noah can put on a show with solid wrestling all throughout, but usually nothing special jumps out at you. They had 2 straight shows where it was amazing, but so far not so much. As for DDT, the last 2 matches are pretty much bangers all of the time, but the rest of the card can be meh. So yeah, I was just starved of consistent wrestling quality. I've also heard that New Japan has changed some of its booking philosophies. They're trying some new things, some more entertainment things, in order to widen the audience both in Japan and abroad. Okay, so for the first match, it's United Empire, represented by Francisco Akira and TJP, versus Bushi and Titan from Los Ingobernables de Japón. So yeah, the match starts right away, like so fast. United Empire didn't even have a chance to take off their gear. Like LIJ just attacked them right away. From the start, we get like show stealer type stuff. And as someone who has complained about this in like Noah shows, because all of the matches there, including the juniors, seem to be like similar with how the heavyweights wrestle. They don't wrestle like fast, like some of them do, especially like Ninja Mac, but the ones you would expect just because of how they like move before their limbs get worked on, like Saiki Yoshioka, they tend to work slower and they're like limited. They're limited because of the stories that they tell. It's always working on the fast guy's limbs, thus slowing the match. So it's a welcome surprise to see that there is actually like teamwork. That's another thing. There is so much teamwork here that like it's equivalent to like a whole Noah pay-per-view with how much teamwork they do in tag team matches. But the problem I noticed is that they don't seem to be following like the tag team rules like at all. Like at least leave the ring after a couple of seconds, but both members of United Empire stay in the ring for like 2 to 3 minutes. The ref forgets that there are tag rules. He doesn't even try to enforce it, and that's burying the ref. I mean, I'm not a stickler much for the rules because I like the Young Bucks and the Elite, and they do this shit, but not this much. Like here, it legit felt like a tornado tag team match. And yeah, I was like a bit uncomfortable with this. It doesn't really like stop for the whole match. They keep doing this. But thankfully it's only for this one. Another problem I see is that they work so fast. It's so balls to the wall that you forget who is in the ring. Like both members of each team end up wrestling very alike. I keep going back to Noah because it's just nice to have like a comparison. Like as compared to like there. For example, like in the last show that I reviewed, Kotoge and Yoshioka versus Kongo, you know who the hell is in the ring because like their characters are like portrayed more in the matches. You know Yoshioka's the guy who's like super fast, who's limited because they keep working on his leg. Tadasuke is like a Japanese Chris Jericho. High 69 is the uncharismatic but high flyer one, and Kotoge is the unreliable one who gets knocked out of the ring for like a long time. Here, they're both the same person to me. So because this is a show stealer match, I'm gonna mention my top spots right now. So first is the double enziguri where Bushi kicks inside and out. Like he does it like one way and then kicks with his heel the other way. Yeah, that's how to like describe this properly. Next is the take picture spot. United Empire seem to like doing this. We see this in the match after, and it's a nice, like, cute thing. And then the number one spot of the match is the double foot stomp on the apron. Okay, so they maintain this pace for 11 minutes, and then they wrestle like teams. We get more than 2 moves, like 2 tag team moves per team, and like a lot more disruption spots as well. I think I'm living in like a bizarre world. Holy shit, there's so much like contact or interaction between the teams. It's awesome. And then the climax was after this like neck breaker by Akira, and then they go for their finisher, which was like a running double knee up and down. But TJP doesn't look like he connected. Like this was pretty much a botch. It didn't look good. I mean, the cameraman tried as best as he can, as I say in like most of these shows. But yeah, this didn't look like it connected. Thankfully, they don't finish the match with this. Titan breaks the pin up, and then they throw Titan out, hit Bushi with the leaning tower for the win. 1, 2, 3. So this is a fun match, despite the problems that I stated. It was still an amazing show stealer. United Empire are very talented, as well as Bushi and Titan. Like, there's so many things these guys can do. The juniors division is like has never been as deep as it is now. And my god, there was so much interactions than the wrestling that I usually watch. It achieved the goal of like waking up the crowd, pumping them up for the show to come. And this isn't the last like fast-paced match that we have, so don't you worry. So yes, I'm gonna give this a grade of TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard match. So yeah, I waited after the match to see who the next challengers are because in DDT and Noah, they do this like all the time. Especially in Noah. In a DDT sometimes, like it's like a joke challenge. But yeah, it just happens all the time. It's like conservative Japanese booking, but in New Japan they don't do it. It's like another world. So after this, we have United Empire, represented by Gideon Gray, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis, Aussie Express, and Aaron Henare versus Hontai, I think. But we also have Chaos from what I last watched. So I'm not sure what faction this is, but I heard it's Hontai, the unaffiliated people. So yeah, Alex Zane, David Finley, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Toru Yano. So yeah, so this is basically Taguchi Japan. And I love Taguchi Japan. So yeah, I like the new characters, especially Gideon Gray. This dude does the intro, the opening announcements for his teammates. It's something new. Dude is good at it. And it's very unsettling, this guy. He kind of looks like the mouth of Sauron. That mouth and those teeth are just terrifying. This is one of two, like, run-of-the-mill Japanese booking multi-man matches. The other one is the tag team match involving Jay White and Okada. And there's only two in this show. It's a nice change because usually we get like half of the show just being this. And that's for both DDT and Noah. But in DDT, they spice it up with their comedy stuff. Not one multi-man match, faction versus faction thing is the same. Not much for Noah though. But yeah, New Japan here, I'm sad to say, goes the greatest hits route. People are tagged only once and then they go away. I fucking hate it when this happens. It's like they're just there to take the paycheck. It's like that multi-man match on Cyberfight, the one with Dupree and Wagner, as well as Simon Gotch. Here, there are more standouts. I think Alex Zane was awesome here. He does this like flipping move that I don't even understand how you do it. He's a Skywalker. Next is Tanahashi, of course. He was the most featured, I think. He just does his usual stuff. It looks okay, but it's like he's at the stage of his career that he's physically unable to like deliver a 5-star match by himself. Dude needs a dance partner to like give us a banger. Aussie Open were the stars here. They were responsible for the top spot of the match. They're also responsible for like the teamwork spots that I like. So yeah, best performers is this team. Gideon Gray didn't do much. I was about to do didn't do shit, but he did do one thing, and that's get slapped by Tanahashi, and dude just freezes up. This was pretty funny right here. And it makes you think that United Empire won the match 3v4 because Gideon Gray was just not even cannon fodder. He kind of reminds me of Antonio Honda from DDT. But Antonio Honda is the worst. Funny, but he's the worst. You know what? I would love to see a match between Yano, Honda, and even Gideon Gray. Everyone keeps saying Yano versus Honda or Yano versus Orange. But if you see this man, if you see Honda and this dude right here, Gideon Gray, they will fucking deliver. Or Yano. Like, I know Yano's gonna win, of course. But that would be the weirdest, most interesting match ever. Toa Henare was also cool, but pretty basic stuff here. I like his character. I like that He's evolved into this hossy, big man slap and meat sort of dude. He did some nice shouts, but that was pretty much it. Toru Yano here was pretty much, yeah, he's pretty much still Yano, but he was the whipping boy. He barely got like any of his stuff off. He's also the one who gets pinned in the end. And as for Dave Finlay, sad story because I didn't notice him. He was the first dude tagged in. He tagged out after like a couple of seconds and then no more Dave Finlay. So the finish of the match is a Coriolis effect by Aussie Open. They win 1-2-3. So yeah, top spots of the match. Number 3 is Alex Zane's like shooting star flip that turns into a senton. Number 2 is the slap to Gideon that takes him out and then like he like collapses. And then the number 1 spot is the delayed standing suplex where Aussie Open just pass the dude around. So yeah, this was okay. Fun early card match. Not much complaints here. It's TV undercard pay-per-view opener. So next match is Hikuleo versus Yujiro Takahashi. So this is the emergency match. The emergency card change because Carl Anderson is busy chasing the money. So yeah, this ended up being just a fast squash match. That's 28 seconds, I think. 28 seconds, but the match actually starts earlier. Like, they start fighting before the 28 seconds, but the bell is rung late. So the official time is 28 seconds. So chokeslam, 1, 2, 3, match over. You know what, now that I think about it, who really needs the Never Openweight Championship? You have 4 singles titles already, and the Never Openweight after Shibata's retirement is just another mid-card title. It's just there. It's a pretty useless title after the founding of the television championship. And that one has more of a purpose. It has special rules. It's kind of like the pure title. The Never Openweight title might actually be overshadowed at one point. You know what? I would have Hikuleo win it in a squash. He's tall enough, he's big enough. He can squash Anderson. And just retire the belt. But yeah, I don't really have a rating for this. It's a squash match. It's automatically TV undercard. So after this is Ren Narita versus Sanada for the TV title tournament semifinals. So Shibata Jr., Ren Narita versus the very unlucky, overdue star of the company. So this is the only singles match with the classic lockups, hammerlocks, wristwatches, only done a lot faster. When in Noah, it always starts with lockups. The match moves on when Sanada puts Ren in a paradise lock and kicks him in the gooch as is custom. Sanada is very sports entertainment actually here. He's very Americanized. They have a fight outside. Sanada does like a pile driver on the floor, but it's too much protection that there's zero contact with the floor. Ren wrestles like Shibata, of course, but it's just missing that stiffness that Shibata brings, or like what Shibata used to bring. At the 11th minute mark, Sanada starts going for the kill, since we get like the hand raise feint spot after a Dragon Sleeper attempt. It's weird because they don't follow like the rules, and this is a singles match, by the way. So Sanada puts this on, we get like the hand raise feint spot. Ren does not get his hands up at all. It goes down and Marty Asami just tells Sanada to like let it go. Call the match, Ren lost. And yeah, further proof that they fucked up with this one, and I think it's on Ren, is because Kevin Kelly didn't even know why Sanada let go. He just said he had to let go because he had to go. Like, he literally said this. Or like at least you can go for like 3 hand raises and then call the match. But yeah, bad mistake here. I love the submission counters here. We get one where Sanada goes for a moonsault. Ren gets his knees up. Ren rolls him up and then goes for an O'Connor roll pin. The next one is like a roll up by Sanada. He tries his own O'Connor roll, but Ren gets him in a rear naked choke. There's working on Sanada's arm, but it doesn't play a factor at the end. A good idea would have been to work on his Dragon Sleeper arm. That could have been a nice reason that like he lets go at that part of the match where they fucked up. It could have played into the ending where Sanada has him locked in but his arm just can't take enough. Ren escapes and then win. But yeah, no, they don't take full advantage of this. But with what we get, it's okay. So the finish is Sanada goes for a discus lariat after a discus elbow. And it's like a discus lariat where he rebounds from the ropes. But when he faces forward, Ren gets him in a belly-to-belly, straight pin for the win. This is my favorite match of the night so far. The 15-minute time limit really helps with the story. It's a rush to the finish, and it prevents them from thinking clearly. They just want to go for the pin right away. It's also unbelievable that Sanada lost. Sanada lost to this like recently graduated young lion. I'm actually not sure. But it's awesome since we get like a different face, a different style in a singles match at Wrestle Kingdom 17. So yeah, nice way to build up new stars, but he's probably gonna lose to the next winner. So Ren isn't quite Shibata yet, but I think now he's more capable of bangers. The man has a future and hopefully he can achieve more than what Shibata did. Like get out of his shadow. So yeah, this is a TV main event pay-per-view undercard match. The top spots of the match. Number 3 is the finish. It's both dudes chasing the time. Seconds left on the clock. Sanada slips up. He goes like he forces it. He forces a discus clothesline. He's caught belly to belly. Ren wins. The number 2 spot is the O'Connor roll by Sanada to the rear naked choke by Ren. And as for the top spot of the match, it's the Paradise Lock on the apron, and then Sanada like takes his damn time until he delivers a drop kick. So Ren falls off of the apron in the Paradise Lock. So after this is the next semi-final match in the TV Championship tournament, and it's Evil versus Zack Sabre Jr. So this match is the most unconventional one. It's very Western. Zack Sabre Jr. tries to outfox the Foxes of New Japan. I've heard so many things about the House of Torture, and most of them are terrible. It's very good for Evil's character, that he's literally living up to the name. But come on, man, stop being Bullet Club. Stop being every heel faction ever, and wrestle a damn match. But this one here was surprisingly fun, because Zack does this, he outfoxes the Foxes by bringing in like a lot of young lions as decoys and as like deterrents to Dick Togo. He actually started with like a promo where he was like feeding this young lion lines to say to Evil like in English. And so Evil brings in, I think, this exact young lion to like take revenge. And then it looks like Zack is making his entrance, but it's another fake out. The real Zack is in the ring and already choking out Evil. Very fun start. New Japan don't usually do this. The Japanese promotions don't usually do this unless you're like DDT. And again, it's awesome that New Japan are making these changes. Suplex posted a video once where he said that to him, New Japan are like running out of ideas. Okada won the G1, so it's the same story, yada yada yada. And yes, I agree with the main event scene, but the rest of the card is so diverse, so unique. The matches aren't repetitive, just like with Noah. They do suffer in quality of like the actual wrestling, but they make up for it with the fun stuff. So yeah, for this one, we get a lot of shenanigans. It's like Shenanigans Jones out here. Most of the match is spent outside, and I did not expect this from someone like Zack Sabre Jr., who's like a technical wizard, the other boy wizard coming out of the UK aside from Harry Potter. We get so much cheating to the point that it gets kind of silly, because Zack was wearing this chair as a necklace for a big part of it, for about like 1 to 2 minutes. It's a pretty cumbersome thing to have around your neck. So while he was like wearing this thing, he went for a spot where he throws Dick Togo to Evil, and then Evil pulls the table and then takes the bump. So yeah, great spot. It's a funny spot. But it's obvious that he pulled the table. What would have been cool is to like throw Dick Togo across the table and then have it fall over that way. It's a lot more like credible. It's more believable. And just nothing went right here. Nothing went right for Evil. Even Dick Togo's attempt to cheat are thwarted because he accidentally grabs Evil's leg as he's hiding under the ring after like a figure four leg lock by Zack. The finish of the match is like an everything is evil attempt. Zack counters it to a crucifix pin for the flash pin victory. Zack beat Evil in 5 minutes, and it's all thanks to those meddling kids. This is my second favorite match of the night so far. It gets a rating of like TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard, but on the high side. Spots of the match are number 2. It's the figure four leg lock and then the miscommunication by House of Torture. And the number 1 spot is the table spot, even if they could have done it better. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Fun match, and it shows Zack's like versatility. So after this is the tag team match that was decided by random draw between the team of Master Wado and Despy versus Hiromu Takahashi and Taiji Ishimori, where they are all rivals. Like, they hate each other. They're from different factions. We have Hontai, Suzuki-gun, LIJ, and Bullet Club. They all have a match at Wrestle Kingdom. Like, it's secured now. They win, they lose, it's still gonna happen. So I think that kind of like removes the like sense of urgency from that match. This should have happened in like December or something, or like just closer to Wrestle Kingdom. It's a very interesting match mechanic that does not disappoint. I haven't seen this done in a while now, and yeah, they managed to do some pretty fun stuff, and this ends up being my favorite match of the night so far when it's over. So yeah, New Japan is really going the entertainment route. This is so different from what I watched, like, when I watched it regularly, when I watched the small shows as well. When Naito won the title, and then the plague happened. This match feels like it was designed by like a cruel overlord, or like a cruel god, like a Sims player who likes to just fuck around. Because all hell just breaks loose. There's like a sense of impending doom that at some point all four will just beat each other up. And yeah, this happens, but the journey getting there is like so fucking good. Okay, so first for the team of Hiromu and Taiji. Hiromu makes an effort to make things work. He like tries to make friends with Taiji. Taiji wants none of it. He's like the biggest asshole of the match. While their opponents hate each other so much that they come to blows and literally tag each other by like slapping or like kicking each other. And that's weird. Like, the rules were bent like at one point. The slap I can understand, but there's a kick that happens and it's counted as a tag? Like, what the fuck? It's like an enziguri and then it's counted as a tag. That's the only bad part of this. But it's made up by the match quality. There's so many moving parts. The dynamic is like very deep and intricate for this one. Like, relative to other wrestling matches. Like, usually when this happens in Western promotions, dudes just argue a lot. It ends up costing them like control for like a long stretch. And it's never both teams. Usually the other team is cohesive, the other team is an actual team, and like the other is just like a makeshift trying to make it work. Just like Benoit and Angle. Like, they still want to win, but it's just a struggle getting there. Here they just hate the fuck out of each other. And yeah, there's definitely more comedy here. Like, the turmoil between the two teams is like played up so much to like be funny. And it works very much. So yeah, the match is first like the usual fast-paced juniors match, but with that dynamic. So Hiromu is the first legal man. He tries to make friends with Ishimori, but Taiji just refuses to tag this man. Poor Hiromu was the whipping boy for about the whole thing. Like, the whole time. And when he finally gets the tag, it's magical, but I'm gonna get to that later. So this is Hiromu and Ishimori's dynamic. Despy and Wado get off a lot of offense, to a point that Hiromu can barely do anything. They get more pissed and pissed at each other, and they don't even do anything wrong. Like, they're just being dicks to each other. So yeah, smart strategy by Ishimori. He's using Hiromu as cannon fodder, willing cannon fodder in this case, to tire out their opponents. And to even like just watch their opponents kick each other's ass. Because the way Despy and fucking Wado interact is that they slap each other for tags. Like Despy's first tag is like a slap, and then he tags out with a chop to the chest. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Wado did not allow himself to be fooled again because they go for this like counter sequence. Yes, teammates counter each other. They counter to slap the other. And this time, Wado slaps Despy's face and he seethes in anger under the mask. This is legit one of the top spots. So yeah, there's an Enzuguri tag out as well. And I think this is the one that like brings it too far because it's a kick. The slaps I understand because it's like with the hand. Some people like sneak tag with like tapping an opponent at the back. So I get it. But an Enzuguri should not count. So for me, everything, like every tag aside from the Enzuguri, contributed to the story. So another spot of the match candidate is like this tag, or like this tag rejection by Taiji. Because Hiromu tries to make friends, he gets his ass kicked for the whole thing so far. And then when he finally gets away from his two opponents, there's a dramatic tag attempt that Ishimori just ignores. He pulls away his hand and then, like the dick he is, laughs at Hiromu. But like luckily this is where like the fighting, like the open fighting started between Wado and Despy, so this gives Hiromu like enough time to recover. He starts kicking their ass. Ishimori finally calls for a tag. But yes, Hiromu does tag him in, but it came with a forearm to the face. And this is the culmination for all of that BS during the start of the match. It literally could have ended here, and I would have been okay. But instead, like, they increase the gear at this point. They do a double submission spot where Taiji escapes his and then he, like, breaks the submission for Hiromu. So for the finish, Hiromu and Taiji finally work together. Hiromu sets Wado up for the time bomb, but he is kneed in the head by Ishimori, and then Wado gets the pin 1, 2, 3 off of Hiromu. So yeah, I think the ending really makes sense. Because if you put yourself in Ishimori's shoes, you're the champion. You really don't need to win this. Like, what would be the difference? He conserved energy for a match that'll happen in like 2 months while fucking around with his opponents. So yeah, I think Taiji won in the end. So I'm gonna give this match a pay-per-view undercard to a pay-per-view main event. You know what? The storytelling was that good, and the quality is almost main event level. Like, if you would rank this in like matches of the year, it would be right up there. But I don't know if it's in the top 10. So yeah, for the spots of the match, they're all pretty much the tags. Number 3 is the counter slap tagging. Number 2 is Ishimori's tag rejection. And then number 1 is the tag, followed by the forearm to Ishimori by Hiromu. So yeah, really good match. Favorite one of the night so far. But in the end, we'll end up at number 2 because of course. So yeah, after this is Kazuchika Okada and Tama Tonga versus Jay White and Kenta. So the new Bullet Club theme is garbage. It doesn't sound half as cool as the old theme. Shotum is just like superior, it's iconic. And you change it for this garbage? What are you thinking? So this match was just pretty much a preview. It felt like just a traditional Japanese wrestling multi-man match, but it's a tag. Based on quality, it shouldn't be here. It should be much lower. Maybe it should have been like third match of the night. Or the one that came after Hikuleo's squash. The only thing that brought this here is just like the names involved. The top 2 guys of the company. So this match was just pretty much greatest hits. I do like that combination move and like how it plays out. Because Kenta goes for a dive on the corner. Tama dodges. And then he's caught in a reverse STO by Jay White. Unpredictable right there. So for the finish of the match, I love striking. Like these loud, stiff strikes. He uses this to like wear down his opponent and then put him in a GTS because it's his move originally. But it's countered into a stun gun for the win. Tama wins for his team. So number 2 spot is the varied tag team sequence. And then number 1 is the finish. I love those stiff slaps. I love that he uses this to set up for the GTS and then is countered into a stun gun for the win. So this match, I think, wasn't as fun as the one we had earlier just because of the length. This one got kind of boring at the end, and I'm making this review like at night now, and I'm like pretty tired. Reviewing this match has made me tired. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a score of what am I gonna do here? Like a score of TV main event only. Yeah, it's that bad for me. Might be like the worst match of the card, aside from the squash match. Okay, so after this is FTR versus United Empire for the IWGP Tag Team Championships. So FTR really solid in AEW. They've eaten a loss against Swerve in Our Glory recently, and I wonder how New Japan and AAA feel about this. They're their champions, and you just gotta like wonder how they feel about like their dudes, their main dudes, with their main tag team titles losing against like, I won't say like an inferior team, since Swerve and Our Glory are like individually two talented people. As a tag team, very talented tag team. Maybe they'll demand them to show up there. It would be cool, but storyline wise, that's not looking to be the case, especially with what's happening in AEW. But yeah, they're up against Jeff Cobb and Great Khan, who didn't make the best impression in their AEW appearance, but they did perform well enough at Forbidden Door, and so now we get the proper 2v2. So, of course, United Empire show up with Sir Gideon Grey, or Lord Gideon Grey, I forgot. But yeah, Gideon Grey, the mouth of Sauron, facilitates their entrance. They enter with like a Japanese celebrity who I don't know who this guy is. But yeah, I mean, Japanese celebrity shows up in New Japan. We've had Okada show up with dinosaurs before. So I love how they play into the weights. Like, I think Jeff Cobb is 9 kilos heavier than Great Khan. So Cash Wheeler, being the small dude that he is, he weighs about the same as Dax. So yeah, he doesn't go for the lockup against Jeff Cobb because he's just so much bigger. It's like a guaranteed win. It's like a layup for Cobb. And then when Dax wrestles with Khan, he goes for lockup since, yeah, Khan is lighter. But Dax has to use like more finesse and like less like sort of power and strength, raw strength, to beat this guy in the lockup. They don't dwell on this like for a long time though, so we get to the strikes after like about 2 to 3 minutes. So we get this fun thing at the start where FTR work on like Khan's ponytail. Like, it's a very long ponytail. I'm happy that FTR are baby faces, but they're not the dumb baby faces who like just like are squeaky ass clean, because these guys have been healed before multiple times. Some could say like incredibly good at cheating. Like the way they wrestled at NXT. Yeah, that right there. And then they display it here by working on this guy's ponytail. And they get their comeuppance because two can play at this game. But since Dax is bald, Khan uses his ponytail himself. Both teams cut the ring in half. Like, baby faces cut the ring in half. That's like really good stuff. It's still the same match, so it shouldn't matter if like a heel team or a babyface team do it. There are also some like tag hold off spots. They do it like for a prolonged amount of time. They do it in like 3 different ways, and it's like Jeff Cobb's sequence where he goes for the body block, the dive tag catch, and then nearly when Cobb back suplexes Dax, and then like Cash tries to go for the tag, but it just doesn't reach. That was really good. So one of the top spots of the match is like a German suplex by Cash on Cobb. And there's this spot that could have been like top 3, but I think this is where Cobb gets injured, because after the match it's reported that his left knee is injured, and it's probably from Like they attempt this Steiner's move, this like electric chair bulldog. Jeff Cobb lands on his knee and he's visibly limping from this point on. He also becomes less active and is taken out of the match when he's thrown out of the guardrail. I legit thought the man was just selling, but apparently he's injured, so get well soon, Jeff Cobb. So the climax of the match is like this hostile sort of strike battle between Dax Hardwood and Great Okan. This is where Great Okan shines the most, since he does this tombstone earlier and it barely looks like it connects. The Great Okan needs a little bit more experience. FTR do their superplex splash like combination. This like triangle superplex splash. That's what I'm gonna call it. So for the finish, I think it really should have been that triangle superplex splash because it's like their best move. Like it beats the Shatter Machine / Big Rig by so much. Like just look at it. It's super cool. And it looks more devastating. So yeah, but the finish itself, Khan tries to hit his like eliminator finish, but is countered into a big rig for the 1-2-3. FTR retain. Okay, so this isn't the best FTR match. I think the injury to Jeff Cobb really hampered things, as well as Great Okan like not being as smooth yet. But he is looking good in strike battles, so that's a promising start. The presentation, the gimmick is awesome. Dude had all of the ladies in like their like video of the United Empire. But yeah, they didn't win this match, so feel sorry for them, but not sorry. They are the heels, remember. But yeah, as for the World Tag League, Jeff Cobb is replaced by Tohanare, so that brings down the team a bit since Jeff Cobb is just awesome. Like dude should be like a single star. But yeah, he's out. And as for FTR, most people think they should be in the World Tag League. I mean, that would be sweet if like we get to see them with other tag teams. But I think they have to close out their story with the Guns first. Just have that on Dynamite, have them skip the pay-per-view, and let them compete in World Tag League. But if I was the booker, I mean, I wouldn't include the champions in the tournament. Since what do they get if they win? Just like trophies and like a pick at the challengers? It's basically like the same thing. So like there's no point in them joining that tournament. But yeah, if it is tradition, if it's expected of them, they should definitely show up and Tony Khan should like let that happen. He should actively lobby them to be in the tag league. So yeah, for the top spots of the match, number 3 is the German to Cobb. Number 2 are the keepaways by Cobb to Dax. And then number 1 is the triangle superplex splash combination. This match was okay. It's like TV main event, pay-per-view undercard. My standards are higher for FTR because they're the best tag team in the world. And I think it's more on their opponents than on them. That's why I want to see them in the World Tag League. So after this is the main event. It's Will Ospreay versus Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP United States Championship. So this is what I came here for. Like this was my most anticipated match. This was the decider if I was going to review the show or not. And it did not disappoint. This is the sort of style that I think drew people into New Japan. It wasn't there in Dontaku, the first pay-per-view I watched. And it's like a little sprinkled into Noah, but the style there is just different. Story of the match is Naito wants to destroy Ospreay's neck. There's a lot more selling in Noah, but the selling here is enough. And it's pretty good, especially from Ospreay. But they start the match, being the assholes that they are, with mirroring taunts. You never see Okada doing this. This is strictly Ospreay and Naito, who are like a bunch of dicks. So they do this ungovernable taunt. The one where they're on the floor, like right in front of each other. And after this, they go straight to the point. Naito goes for the neck. It starts with just like a neck lock, but then proceeds to even worse. Even a weak-ass head scissors. Naito fucking zeroes in on this guy's neck. Like, just look at this picture right here. He's salivating at the chance to remove this man's head. So first spot of the match candidate is this like thing where Naito goes for a tornado DDT on the turnbuckle, and then Ospreay like counters and then puts Naito on the turnbuckle and then chops him out of the ring. The match then slows down and we just get the working of the neck. Drop kicks, head scissors, neck breakers on knees. Another two spots of the match candidates. They're basically the same move but done in different places. First is Avalanche. It's like a neck breaker where Will is on the top turnbuckle and Naito like pulls him off to like neck breaker him in the ring. He then does this outside the ring. And then like again right after this, number 4 spot of the match candidate, Naito tries to neck breaker Ospreay on like the guardrail, but there's like a backslide counter. Ospreay then springboards off of the guardrail for an Os cutter that lands like awkwardly because Naito lands on his back and Ospreay also lands on his back. Like usually an Os cutter is like an RKO, but this is like they end up on the same side. So Naito has been going at Ospreay's neck for about like the whole match already, and 23 minutes in, like about 23 to 24, they've slowed it down for about 14 to 15 of those minutes. Ospreay has done like 3 to 4 flips only, and he's been selling the neck so fucking well, and I don't get the criticism here. If he suddenly goes to the WWE, people will be okay with this. People will stop fucking around with the guy. But thankfully he isn't, because you fuckers don't deserve him. Because yeah, Naito has been torturing this dude's neck with submissions, with drop kicks, and with fucking neck breakers like this, inside and outside the ring. And the dude has done nothing but sell this shit. It's like you're canceling him for like his previous style. It's like you're cancel culturing him just because he did like a super flippy match with someone who's in the WWE right now. And everyone seems to love that guy a lot because he's your dude now. But just take a look at this. This is selling right here. Just look at it. He goes loopy. He like falls down after being spammed neck shots. He has hands on his neck. And if I was allowed to play videos here, just like with the Wrestle Universe shows, which you should check out by the way, DDT Noah and Tokyo Joshi Pro along with Ganbare Pro, if I was able to play videos, you would hear the screaming that this guy does. Look at the selling. Look at it. And just look at how he goes for the pin on Naito. Dude doesn't even get up. He slides his way on his back in this position very, very jankily until he manages to get the pin still in this position. There's this other one where he has to lift Naito up to put him on the top turnbuckle, but since you have to use your neck on this one, it takes about 15 seconds just to set this guy up for the cheeky Nando's kick. That takes no time when there's no injury to sell. And for the fucking top spot of the match, or it's certainly right up there, right after the Nando's kick, he takes about 25 seconds, about like that long, to set Naito up for like an electric chair something. I think it's like spinning him forward to powerbomb him, but eventually he fails and then he gets Hurricanrana off. That's selling on offense. Come on, matches don't need to be the way they are back during the territory days or in the Attitude Era where matches were garbage. And you didn't need people to like suspend their disbelief because wrestling was still real to them. The internet wasn't mainstream yet. Come on, cut the shit. I swear to God, if this guy had the exposure, if this guy just worked more American dates in a decently sized number 2 promotion, he would get over. Because dude is a real life superhero. And that's what the kids like. Aside from Logan Paul, who did very well by the way, but the guy destroyed his body doing it. And Will does that shit all the time, as well as Hangman Page. And they don't break their ACL, their MCL, and their meniscus. And I think I've mentioned like 6 spot in the match candidates already. And another one happens here. It's an Avalanche Poison Rana by Naito that Will flips out of. And Naito thinking that he's in the clear, that he actually hit it. Ospreay stealthily goes for an Os cutter and then hits Naito with one That looks like the one he hit outside, where they both land on the same side. So then we get to like the climax of the match. It's the usual Naito match ending where there's like a lot of Destino attempts. It keeps you guessing because dude attempts a lot of Destinos, but then just finds a way to like have it countered and lose the match. Like, I swear to God, in both of his matches against Okada, they kept doing this. And it's like a coin toss when he would win and when he would lose. So, top spot of the match candidate is a Destino attempt that is countered into a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. He hits one Destino. He hits another in like, what's now, like the top 8 spot of the match candidate. It's a Destino countered to a Stormbreaker countered to a Destino. Destinoception. But yeah, this is pretty much the best Destino that Naito has ever done. This is like the best Destino exchange I think that I've ever watched him have. And I've watched like 2 of his biggest matches live. These two are just incapable of having a bad match with each other. Fucking generational talents. This is so King's Road. You have to hit your finisher multiple times, and there's a lot of like head and neck bumps. This is King's Road, Eddie Kingston. Because the finish of the match, to finally end it with a third Destino, Naito attempts the Destino again. It's countered to a forearm, which sets up for a running elbow, which sets up for the hidden blade, and just to kill Naito, a Stormbreaker for the fucking win. 1, 2, 3. Epic match. It is a pay-per-view main event quality match. No fucking question about it. Well paced, did not plod at any point. Everything was done with a purpose. There was selling. Not as much selling as like Noah or like Hangman Page, but pretty damn good selling. From one who is not known to do so, who's almost being cancelled. This is what Japanese wrestling should be, and DDT gets it. They have these sorts of matches, but Noah has a lot to learn from this. So overall, in like all of the matches I watched, this is gonna be like number 2 match of the year. Second only to Higuchi versus Takeshita. That's still number 1 because they went balls to the wall and all of their strikes were like not held back. They went stiff from the start and even more hard-hitting all throughout. Like literally, they had one of the coolest spots of the year. Dude headbutted the fucking post. I don't know if anything from Wrestle Kingdom can top this. Maybe Will Ospreay's match, whoever his opponent will be. I don't see it with Okada versus Jay. Yeah, pretty much Kenny and Will are gonna destroy Wrestle Kingdom. And Dave Meltzer is gonna add like another 10 stars to his like rating system. So yeah, this whole pay-per-view was consistently good. There were no stinkers like in DDT, like the earlier matches. The matches were more varied than in Noah. Here they go for different paces, but they tend to try not to make the audience fall asleep. And they just had a banger with fucking Naito and Ospreay. And now Naito doesn't even have a match at Wrestle Kingdom. He's gonna be stuck in like the lower card tags. Or who knows, we might get like Shingo and Naito. Or like Shingo and Sanada because they don't have matches anymore against FTR. Okay, so I totally didn't know that Naito and Sanada are going to be in the World Tag League. But yeah, there it is. There's your winner. They are going to be the ones to take those belts. Because let's take a look at the World Tag League bracket first. This is like the first New Japan show that I watched in a long time. So I don't know like the dynamics. I don't know who's more likely or less likely to win. But just looking at the bracket, like undeniable, the most overpowered team is fucking LIJ. Just look at the other competitors. I might do a tier list of this before I release the actual review, but yeah. There's your World Tag League, no FTR. What's going on, Tony Khan? What a dick move to your like allies. So yeah, that's my review of Battle Autumn Night 16 2022. Like, comment, and subscribe for engagement. Share if you don't know me. Hit that bell notification for future videos, and please watch my shit.